Make sure I haven't got a fucking loop on. We're fucking ready to go. Yep, we're on.
We're on. What's going
We're on,
on?
mate.
Fucking emergency meeting.
Emergency meeting, mate. Um, get all the worst possible things you thought could happen in 1 week, and probably got what's happened this week so far. So we started off on Monday or over the weekend. We got the news about Grundy. Obviously, Jack Hayes. We then went into Luke Jackson with some health and safety protocols. We then went into Cherry with a foot complaint, and now we've gone Hewitt just to top the week off nicely. So,
Yeah, nice little topper.
yes. So,
One more thing happens. I don't know if I'll be able to field a full team. That's good.
yes, well, I've got my team on the screen right now, and I've got two spare players on the bench, not including Dixon, who's listed as an emergency, and I don't think he'll play.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, not sure what to do there, mate. I was going to try and do a few loopholes this week, but yeah, it's going to be difficult when you don't have any other players to loophole in. So really relying on
Yeah.
Roses to play. Otherwise, I will literally just be whatever the team is now. Is what you see is what you get.
Yeah, if Roses isn't playing, it'll be Taconi on for me as well. And then, yeah, it'll just be whatever happens, happens at that point. Pretty crazy week with Grundy going down, Hayes going down, Sherry with the foot injury. It's just like there's no rucks in the competition anymore. Essentially, it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so pretty wild. It'll be interesting to see what a lot of people have done with their trades this week. I'd say most people have probably had to use a trade boost to
oh,
get
for
some stuff
sure,
going.
for sure.
Um, yeah, it's pretty wild. So,
Yeah, I guess the point of the emergency meeting is to.
Jaws, what's going on?
G'day, Jaws. How are you, mate? What a fucked up week. You can say that again, mate. Um, well, I guess the you don't have to hit the panic button if you have some of these players because, like a Hewitt, for example, who is owned by 70% of teams, everyone's going to be in the same boat. We don't know how long it's going to be. We can't trade him out. We've got too many other things to deal with anyway. G'day,
Yeah,
Snaggy. Fucked
they
up
said
week, mate.
fucked. Shit's fucked. Throw your team in the bin. Season over.
So
Um,
yeah, I guess don't throw the baby out with the bathwater because a lot of people are going to be in the same boat, and there's probably going to be people like me who are probably in a worse situation than you, like having Jackson as well, which is I don't think a lot of people. I don't even know what his own percentage is, but what do we got here?
he's
Oh,
20% of teams.
geez, he's actually a lot higher than I thought, to be honest. I guess yeah, being able to put him in the forward line does make him bit more desirable. But yeah, I actually thought that's actually a lot higher than I thought. So interesting. Yeah, so I was lucky. Like Oliver was my number one. I had to get in this week, and I also wanted to try and get in Cripps while bringing in Hayes, and I've still been able to do that. The only difference was I ended up, as you can see, doing Cherry instead of Whitfield, which I was really hoping to get him out, but um, yes, not much I can do there. So I'd rather be fielding Whitfield than having another person like Cherry on the bench for another week. So I don't. It doesn't. This is my only concern is I've only got 22,000 in the bank, whereas with Whitfield I did have 100, and it was going to set me up nicely for a one up, one down next week. So that's my only concern. But I think this week you've just got to try and field what you can and just try and get the best available score with what you do have on the field.
Yeah, fuck these ruckmen. That's right, Jaws. Yeah, it's pretty insane. I forgot about Jackson as well.
Hmm.
Like Jackson and Hewitt, you can get away with, right? Because Jackson's only going to be a week. Hewitt, it's a calf corky, so you'd hope it's only the week.
Hmm.
Like he wasn't named on the injury list or anything midweek, so
No,
it
he
seems
was
just
named to play,
serious.
so yeah, I'd be
I think
very
they'll probably
surprised.
just, yeah, I think they're probably just resting him. So if you can, I wouldn't worry about those guys. Throw them on the bench. The more serious ones are your Hayes, Grundy, and Cherry. If you had them in your
Yeah,
team, obviously they're ones you should probably look at trading out.
yeah, for sure. And just like things that I have sort of considered is trading out a Rochelle instead of a Hayes or something along those lines. The guys that are on the border of the break even, right? So you've got Rochelle who's on a break even of 85. He could potentially go down in value 12,000 this week. Give or take. Whereas Hayes, for example, he isn't going to go down in value. So if I was in a situation where Jackson and Hewitt were playing, I could have potentially looked to do that to free some more cash up for next week. If I was going to have Rochelle on the bench anyway. So
Yeah, it's just bankable cash on the bench. Essentially, that's not going to go down in someone like Hayes.
yeah, that's right.
Um, but yeah, it's pretty fucked now. With I don't know. I think with Hewitt, I had 8 injured players this week. You've got 9, I think.
Yeah,
So, like, you might need those Rochelle's or Horn Francis if you've still got them to actually be on the field this week. So it makes it a bit trickier.
yeah,
Sure.
100%. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like that at my end decision was just to try and field a team. So even if even if you do gonna like I might have to sacrifice some stuff next week or not be able to be as aggressive next week, but that's the price I pay for the players that I've picked. So, but
Yeah.
how it works is like next week I'll probably throw a whole heap more curveballs at us anyway. So there's as much as you can plan for a couple of days out or a couple of weeks out. Sorry. Yeah, no one knows what's going to happen because we started this week on Sunday thinking Sunday morning we're thinking, oh yeah, this is what I'll do, and then suddenly you've got 7 injuries in the space of 5 days, and plans have completely flipped on their head. So, um, yeah, um, I wanted to quickly touch on like the loopholes, like playing a loophole player, for example. So you can get two bites at a cherry with a rookie, and it's like the most important week to do it when you're struggling to field a team, and you got players like Hewitt and stuff on your bench. Um, you want to be obviously squeezing as many points out as you can. So I'll just give an example of how like I'm going to do it this week. I was going to try and do it in the forward line, so I was going to have Gibcus as the emergency, and then use McCartan as the loophole, but obviously Hewitt's not playing now, so I don't have any one to do it with. But in my forward line, you can see De Koning it has the emergency on. He's actually playing on Saturday at 1:45. And Rosa, too, I want to obviously take one of those two scores, I think. Um, I'll obviously take Rochelle, so it'll be one of those that I leave on the bench, one of them I take. So De Koning, I have the emergency on him. He plays on the Saturday. If he goes really well, what I do is I sub Jackson onto the field, and Jackson won't score. He will score a 0, so then I'll get De Koning's points. If De Koning, say, scores a 20 and you don't want to keep that score, then you obviously just put Roses back onto the field. You won't get De Koning's score because he's on the bench as long as Roses plays. So that's just a way that I can loophole two rookies in the forward line to make sure I'm getting the most amount of points. Because on a week like this, you just need to try and get everything you possibly can. So if Dixon was named this week, there is a potential I could try and do something with McCartan, moving him forward and putting Jackson back into the ruck. So there was a few different little things I could have done, but I don't think Dixon's going to play tonight. And if he does, he'd probably be Medis up, but I don't think he will either way. So that's a little example.
Joel's saying big call, but I wanted to trade out Jackson for a while now. I think I cooked it by getting him in the first place. What do you guys think of Hayes, Grundy, and Jackson for Gorn, Hayes, and Cripps? Have enough for Oliver, but would leave me with no money for next week.
Are you talking about Oliver instead of Cripps? Like I think.
Saying
Um,
he could get Oliver this week, but he'd have nothing in the bank for next week.
But is he
or he gets Crip.
saying Oliver instead of Cripps? Is he?
Yeah. Instead of Cripps this week. Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, like the only thing with the Jackson trade is like you'd want to make sure you just didn't have any other like issues to deal with in the team. Like, yeah, okay, Jackson's had a couple of off weeks, but he's still averaging 92, and he has produced a couple of big scores. So he's probably going sideways on him is maybe not your first option. Um, if you like, for example, Whitfield's only averaging 78. Daniel's only averaging 88 for me. So, like, there's other people I feel need more attention than Jackson at the moment. But in
Yeah, I
saying
mean,
that,
I was.
he does have a high
Yeah,
break even of 136. So when he comes back, he's going to have to hit that, and he probably will go down in value a little bit.
yeah, 100%. It just depends on what your ruck plans are for the future or where you were playing Jackson in the first place, really. I think for
Mm.
us, we had him as one of our rucks
Yeah.
mainly. So for us, chuck him on the bench for an extra week. And then I've got the cash now after this week. If I wanted to, I could upgrade him to like a Gorn or something next week if I really wanted to.
Mm.
I was thinking about getting rid of him this week, but it just like he's not losing any value this week, right? He's not going down in value, so you can put him on the bench pretty comfortably if you've got enough players to field a team. And then someone like Sherry, if you've got him, he's going to be out for 4 weeks. And by the sounds of it, you could probably go like a Sherry, Grundy, and Hayes for the same combo if you wanted to, and that way you'd be able to keep Jackson in your team for next week. Um, that's also an option.
Yeah, I like I like in this scenario that you've given me, Jaws. Like I do like those trades. I think you're getting like big upgrades there. Going to Gorn gives you, the number one ruck, some actual stability in the ruck this year. Like whereas the other rucks are all, flippant. Who knows what's going to happen there? They're all getting injured. So Gorney seems to be the stability there. So I do like it from that perspective. But I mean, if you're doing that and keeping Cherry and getting rid of Jackson, I think that's a bad move long term, because Jackson's only going to miss 1 week. He's still valuable points on the board. You still would rather have him on the field than a Rhodes or Rochelle or a Martin. So, only do that if you have, dealt with the other problems in the team, because at the end of the day, you've only got a certain amount of trades, and, you can't hold Cherry for 4 weeks because who knows what'll happen. It could be longer. I wasn't prepared to hold Cripps for a week, and look how that turned out. But when it's 4 weeks, it's a little bit different. So
Yeah, that's like 400k just sitting on your bench doing nothing. So
yeah, exactly. For that amount of time, you can hopefully try and turn that money into better use. So um, yeah, I'd only be doing that if you don't have a Cherry, for example, or something else you have to deal with. But I mean, players like Hewitt, you definitely wouldn't trade him this week. 70% of people in the same boat. Um, yeah, Jackson I think's in the same boat as Hewitt. He'll be back next week. Obviously, with it's just COVID. McCartan's in the same boat, but could free up some cash. Be interesting to see if Will Gould finally plays for Sydney, because if he gets a game and goes well, he's finally a rookie defender we can sort of have a look at. Um, yeah. Apart from that, I'll just make
yeah,
sure you've got the rookies in this week that are going to make you some cash, because they are looking like they're filtering out, and there's not that many coming through. So, Callahan's at one this week, 200,000, where it's pretty slim pickings if you're looking at someone like that. It's already 200. He's probably only going to generate another 100 at max. You want rookies like Hayes who could potentially go up 300 or 400. So. Um, yeah, I think
yeah.
everyone's in the same boat this week, though, mate, and I wouldn't be
Shit's
too
fucked.
alarmed. It'd
Put
be
your
very
seatbelt on.
interesting to see what a past score is this week.
Yeah, I was going to
Um,
say that. It'll be interesting to see what top score is this week. I mean,
mm,
obviously, there'll probably be some pretty crazy outlier scores, as there always is, but I think a lot of people like had most of these players in the team that are injured this week, so
yeah, well, that's
it'll be
right,
interesting.
and that's the thing about Supercoach as well. Like Easty was having a go saying, "Oh, like every team's the same." Well, okay, yeah, the top teams might have some of these players, but it just shows you if you're prepared to have a little bit of point of difference, and not go with a Hewitt or a Cripps or Grundy or some of these guys, they've all
You
gone
can,
down now, and
yeah,
you're a step ahead. So, um, what do we reckon about the Chad Warner pick? Chad Warner, let me have a quick look. So he started about 380, did he? And he's up to
or 17.
417. So his break even's only 452. His last score was 113. Just
It's
keep
not
in mind
bad.
that last score, like he did, it was against the Hawks, and they sort of did run rampant, did whatever they wanted for the last quarter. So, um, you know, a score like Mills and stuff that it's sort of not going to get that every week, put it that way. With three sort of scores in a row around that 70 to 80, it looks like it might be sort of towards his normal score, and this one may have been a little bit of an outlier. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I agree. You've obviously got the first game at 120 and the recent game at 113. But as you say, Sydney just did whatever they wanted in that last
Mm.
quarter, so that boosted that up a little bit. I'd say his more consistent score will probably be around that 80-point mark. It really just depends. Like the Chad Warner pick, do you mean as in getting Chad Warner in, or you've got him already and you're thinking about getting rid of him? Is he
Mm.
your like M6 midfielder? Is that what he is, or like
Yeah. I mean,
what
he'd
number
be
mid are
he'd
you
be
trying to
really
get him in
good
at?
if so you already got, oh, should
I'll
I
try
get
to bring
him?
up his. Should he get him?
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think
right.
so. I
I don't
think
think so either.
just because like midfielders this year as well is like they're scoring so high like compared to the other um, positions. So if he was a forward, I'd say 100% take a bit of a gamble. And like if you're wanting to take a gamble or you've got someone, or you're looking for someone around that, you spell Rosie.
I'm just bringing up his team that he posted like a week ago in the chat. So
Why can't I find Rosie?
ROZ, is it Z?
Is it?
ROZIE? I think so. Um,
I think I'm
yeah,
dumb.
ROZEE.
Oh,
So
hell.
he's got McRae, Neil, Tuke Miller, Will Brody, Matt Rowell, and then Dacos, Horn Francis, and Ward as his last three
Sorry,
mids.
say again.
So his midfield from like a week ago when he posted it, I don't know if it's changed, mate, but McRae, Neil, Tuke Miller, Brody, Rowell, and then Dacos, Horn Francis, and Ward
Mm,
are his
mm.
bottom three mids. So Staggy, is it a lateral trade or a slight upgrade on someone like a Ward? Is that what you're looking at to do, or what with that?
I'd be hesitant bringing in like those middle price guys, just for the sake of saying like I've got the money, like I'll spend all my money at once. I still think you're better off if you don't have like a Roses or something like that. You know, get a rookie in that's going to generate you some cash and hopefully not underscore too much. And then the week after you've got 300K in the bank, you can go bang bang, do a double upgrade. I think that leaves you in a better position a lot of the time. Like some of those, some of the pro guys who, obviously spend their whole lives doing this stuff, they're not afraid to pull the trigger if they've got something lined up that they want to do next week and they've got two players they want to target. So I wouldn't necessarily just be picking someone at 400,000 because that's the money that you've got. But in saying that, if you set on it and you want to do something like that, you maybe be better looking at a player like Rosie. He is a big point of difference. He's only in 1% of teams. He did just pop off last week at 150, and he also played the second half of the Carlton game in the mid, and his score went from being nothing at halftime to having a really big second half, and they came back from 50 points. So they're going to be playing him more in the midfield. Robbie Gray's back. He could be a little bit of a point of difference if you're looking for that type of player, and he's also in the forward line as well. So his average doesn't have to be as high to you know as some of those midfielders. There's sort of less difference between the two, the good and the bad, if that makes sense. So, um, yeah, I mean, he's obviously put in a couple of stinkers. I don't know if he was injured that first game or whatever, but yeah, I think he said that he was sort of playing forward just because. they needed him to do that, sort of similar to what Butters was doing. So just be interesting to see what they do this week. But yeah, if you're looking at someone around that 400, I reckon, yeah, he could be a better one.
Yeah, Rosie's not a bad option. Lipinski's not bad either if you're selling like one of those guys because he's DPP, so he's mid forward
Yeah,
as well, so you can move him around a little bit. But
not convinced about
I'm
him.
no neither. But
If you can
I
try and get
am
to like a Luke Parker, I know it's an extra sort of 75. Like if you can
yeah
try and find that money, like he's gone down 116. He's really good value now. He's gone back into the midfield. His centre bounces are up. Only in 2% of teams, which is surprising. So it's a lot of people bringing him in this week, I think. So if you can get that extra little bit of money, he could be one that you look at. So
I'm really
that's the exact trade I'm doing this week, Jaws. Yeah, literally exactly the same. So Hayes, Grundy, and Cherry out, and yeah, Clayton Oliver, Cripps, and Hayes in, and I was lucky that I had a bit of money in the bank to be able to do that. But yeah, there's certainly there's nothing wrong with cashing in some money and having it sitting in your in the bank for a week, because it just meant, like, if I didn't have that 100K in the bank, then I wouldn't have been able to do that stuff this week. So I don't think Dixon will play, mate. He's been named as an emergency. And having a look at the other guys, that's like with him on the emergencies, they're sort of much better suited to be an emergency. Like I think even Gaff might be an emergency as well. So I'd suggest that they would go with someone like him. But yeah, not 100%, mate. Hopefully gets a game at some point. I would not like it if he was the Medi sub though. So it's going to if he gets a 13 or something, it's going to be pretty slow with the old cash generation for a few weeks.
yeah. I'm really trying to avoid doing those sort of lateral 300 to 400K trades this year. I think there's probably other ways you can go around it, where you can do one up, one down, get some cash in the bank, and allow you to do a bigger trade sort of later on in the year. I think you'll probably get more value out of doing something like that, Snaggy, than sort of going laterally or slightly up on like one of your rookies. So I'd be interested to see what trades you're looking at doing this week, mate, because I was just looking at your team before, and I think you had most of the same players as well. So,
Did he have a Grundy?
yeah, you had Grundy, and I think he's got Grundy and Wits in the ruck.
Yeah, well, like if you're in a position, say, to go from a Grundy to like a Sam Hayes or a Bruce,
Yeah, it's a couple hundred
and
K in the bank right then. Yeah.
yeah, and then double upgrade.
So he's got Sherry, Grundy, Hayes on the bench. So yeah, all the players that we had that are injured essentially. So yeah,
I
there's a
don't
lot of
mind the
cash there.
Wits trades, Jaws. I'm not 100% sold on it, but um, I mean, it's just like that's the thing, mate. I think if you're bringing him in at this point, because a lot of people had him brought him in when he was 300. You're getting him for what? Is he up to 500 yet? Wits?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's like 530, I think.
530, yeah. So you are paying a premium price. So you would want to be um, convinced he's going to be a top 2 or 3 ruck at the end of the year. That's what, like, if you bring him in at this point, that's what you'd be wanting to do.
I think he'll go close to that for sure. I definitely wouldn't go Laddams though. Definitely wouldn't go Laddams over Wits. If you're going to spend that money, I'd spend it on Wits. Stag, you were saying he's done Grundy, Sherry, and Hayes to Clary, Hayes, and Rosie.
Yep.
I don't mind that at all. I like that.
Yep. If you're looking for a bit of point of difference too, like you definitely I'd be going Rosie. I mean, that's the thing, mate. It's going to be a risk with Rosie. Like, I'm not prepared to do it. I did have a look at it this week, and if there wasn't some other stuff I needed to sort of address more, then maybe it would have been on the radar. But it is certainly a risk. And keep in mind, lads, as well. Like, you've got players like Jackson who have underperformed for a few weeks. It all averages out, right? So you have a couple of bad weeks, and even the good players do this, like McRae and stuff. He went a 90, then he goes 150, 150, and 90, but he's still got the average, right? So that's, if you believe in the player, leave them in. And, when you're behind as well, you can't just keep chasing your tail. You do have to eventually dig your heels in and go, okay, I need this player to improve. If he doesn't, I'm stuffed anyway. So, so I'm sort of in that boat with Caleb Daniel. Got a 67 last week. I got to stick with him. I'm sort of stuck with him now. And if he starts turning around, starts doing 120s, then good. If not, then made my bed sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so second for Staggy, he's saying he can't find anyone, couldn't find a good rookie. It's like the Lipper, Warner, or Rosie. Just depends how set on Clary you are, mate. Like that's another thing as well. I mean, Clary at 680. You could always go to someone that's a bit more value at the moment, like a tracker or something like that for 550, or some
Was
players around.
Snaggy set on Clary? Oh, he's
He's
very set.
very set.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're very set, then that's probably the best option. But if you went the other way and went to like a premium that hasn't been performing super well, like Tracker or something like that, you could probably free up an extra, what is that, 120k or something like that between him and Clary,
Yeah.
and then
I'd
you could move a
personally be
Rosie to
going.
like a Parker or something. But yeah, I'd probably stick with Clary anyway.
Yeah, I personally would be, mate, for sure. I think, like, if you looked at your top eight midfielders at the start of the year, like you, for example, you started with him. Yeah, exactly, the lowest he's going to be for a long time
Oh yeah,
anyway.
618. Yeah, I forgot about that. I got him at 680 at the start of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
yeah,
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 well, I did the same
um,
with Miller, and he's down to
yeah,
580 now. So
yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah,
have you got Miller, Snaggy?
yeah, he does.
He
Yeah,
does, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean the other option you have, mate, rather than going like Rosie, is just whether you want to go risky or not, because like that could be a risk that just pays off in spades, and you could start doing 150 every week, and you're laughing, right? But I mean, if you have you got roses? Is that what you were
he
replying yes
doesn't.
to?
I don't think he's got roses. I don't know. I'm just looking at his team from a week ago anyway. He might have it now, but um, yeah, that's another option, right? You could go
Yeah, you could go down to
right. You could go
roses,
down to
leaving.
roses and keep what 200k or something like that um, in the bank, and then use that next week or something.
Yeah,
And
for
and
sure.
fielder, he's got Rochelle on the bench, so he might be able to field a Rochelle or something. So
Yeah, sounds like he's going to. Yeah, I don't know. Like to be honest, I think his job security is better than we think. I think they wanted to keep playing him, and he's tackling inside 15. His pressure's really really good. And I think Gold Coast need that sort of stuff. So I think he'll be all right. Whether he's named or not, we'll find out on Saturday afternoon. I've already got him anyway. I traded him in last week. But yeah, I mean, if you're trading him out for another player that's not playing till the Sunday, you could wait and see. But um, yeah, I mean, even yeah, don't know. Well, I mean, when's Port playing Saturday night? So yeah, like when the teams are announced on Saturday afternoon, mate, if Rose is named, you could always do the change. So you can just like click the undo change button and then just update the trade and just go from one straight to the other. So that's definitely an option you got there as well if you want. Otherwise, yeah, if you're happy to take a risk, mate, Rosie could pay off. Could yeah, it could go shit ass.
oh fuck. All right, well, it's shit's hit the fan. Strap in. Could be a crazy weekend.
Yeah,
Any more fucking injuries this weekend, and it'll be a bit full on. So
yeah. I mean, who would have thought at the start of the year, like after we've had like 5 years of Grundy gone, I'd
yeah,
be going in around what is it 7 with Bruce and a
Hayes in
third
the rough.
gamer in the rough.
yeah,
It's
yeah, it's pretty full
crazy,
on.
crazy.
Um, but I think there's a lot of.
Fuck Parish got up.
Oh mate, yeah, I was fucking pissing myself when I saw Parrish could be injured. I was just like, you're gonna just fucking throw your computer in the bin. That's
Oh
it, team.
mate,
Game over.
that's it.
Um, yeah, all right. Anything else you want to add before we fucking
No, mate. I
jump off?
think that's pretty good. Unless anyone's got any other questions, yeah. And if you got any questions about like the like loopholes or anything, and you want to see if you've done it right, just send it in the Discord or just message me on Facebook if you got me on Facebook, whatever, and I'll just make sure that you've done it right. But yeah, don't
Strap
know.
in. Should be a hell of a round. Yeah, just try and be as smart as you can this week. Use loopholes if you've got them.
Yeah.
And then just make smart trades. Like I probably wouldn't be getting rid of like your Hewitts and your Jacksons this week when they're going to be back next week when you've got sort of bigger problems to fry with players out for
Hmm.
longer periods of time. So,
Oh, just quickly, let's go over captains, vice captains.
oh yeah, good point.
if you do bring in Gorn, I think he could be an absolute certainty for a VC because he's playing Hawks. Laddam's got 170. So if Laddams could get 170, Gorn could get 4 to 500.
Yeah, and no
Um,
Jackson in the team this week as well. So
yeah,
yeah, Gorn will just be. He could go to the moon. He could go
yeah,
fucking a million points this
yeah.
week.
I
Um,
actually don't think a double ton is off the cards. Like based off what Laddams was able to do in the last quarter of last week. Yeah, it could get messy. So I'm going to be going Oliver because yeah, I mean you saw what what's the Sydney bloke got, the 214 mils.
Mills,
Yeah, you
yeah,
saw what he did. Oliver's obviously hit back in form, so he'll be mine because I don't have Gorney.
yeah. All
Um,
this my VC, and then I think I've got McRae as my swap C at the
yeah,
moment.
I
Yeah,
could potentially go to Steele as a captain. I'll have a little bit of an assess there. The other option you've got if you do have Cripps and McRae is Cripps is playing on the Saturday night, so he's a good one to put the vice captain on because he did burn me a couple of weeks ago when I had the captain on him, so I wouldn't do that again. But yeah, I mean, if you've got McRae playing on the Sunday, you could do the Cripps as the vice captain, and yeah, against North, I can't see anyone from North stopping him. So if he stays on the field the whole game, he could easily go 150 plus as well. So don't know if there's anyone else that you'd probably risk it on.
no. Just depends who you've got. Like, um, what is it? Dogs are playing Essendon this week, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dunkley scored 153 last time he played them.
Yep.
So that's a bit of a just out of the box one. But if you've got those big guns, I'd probably just stick with those.
Jack just said my midfield's looking stacked. Yes, it is, mate. But if you pay attention to my forward and back line, I've got three rookies in each line. So yeah, definitely will be addressing that. My just give you an idea, like short next week is my target. He's got a pretty high break even, still 139. He could get that this week against West Coast, but yeah, he's certainly a player that I'll be looking into. Get that extra premium into my backline next week. So yeah, but yeah, I don't think Rao will be a keeper. Like I was sort of going to leave an extra space there because I thought Rao could be a keeper, but now I'm pretty convinced he won't be. So he'll be an upgrade target maybe after the buys or something like that. But yeah, at the moment, just try and generate as much cash as possible. Yeah, Hewitt on bench, Jackson on bench. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, is what it
Hewitt
is.
on bench, but Whitfield's been playing like a bag of dicks, so
Yeah,
that'll be his upgrade, I think, to short in a week's time.
yeah,
So
it could be. I would. That's the thing. Like, if I had the extra 100,000 in the bank, I was hoping to do like an O'Driscoll or a McCartan and a Rochelle and go like up to short and then get another rookie in. I don't think I'm gonna have the money to do that. And I might be in an unfortunate situation where I've got to downgrade one of them to a rookie and then wait an extra week on short, and I might have missed out on sort of 20, 30K there, but it is what it is. So
yep, sweet.
uh, yeah, just quickly, I'll give the people what they want. This is my same game for tonight.
Oh shit.
So Greg Clark's making his debut. He's been absolutely sending it in the twos, as far as I believe. He was supposed to debut round one and didn't. 20 disposals, about $2.40, so a good place to start. Everyone's talking about West Coast and the team that they've got. They could just turn around at any point, but I think people are forgetting they just lost by 90 points to Port Adelaide, who was 0-5 going into that game. So I don't know how good they're going. I think it'll be high scoring, perfect conditions for footy over in Perth tonight. Boston seems like he's in good form and he's been taking a few of the kick-ins as well. So 22 and a half disposals there. And Bolter and Rioli, they're both pretty sure things to get a goal. I think they're both about $1.20 to 30 or something. So just something to bolster it up a little bit, and that gives you $18.25. So giddy up.
Yep, and then we went. I think we did our safe weekend multi
Oh yeah,
earlier in
I
the
might
week,
have
but
changed
that's
it slightly, but this is what we did come up with, I think. So Freo at the line. So the line actually has changed slightly um, since I think they had someone about Freo. Anyway, they're now out to about $3.90. So 4 goal line margin. I think is pretty good to get $1.90. Melbourne are out slightly because of the COVID players, but I mean, I think the guys that they've brought in, like Lever and stuff, they well and truly account for that. So $1.20, I think, is good for Melbourne. Saints, I think, will deal with Port Adelaide fairly comfortably, and then yeah, it'd be interesting to see the game of the round, Brisbane Sydney. Do we have anything different in the one we came up with on Monday, Ruzich?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty close to what we
Yeah, that might have been
did.
it.
I think the one we was tossing up putting in or not was the Brisbane game, but I think
Yeah.
we went with that in the end.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
you could do the Pies and the Dogs or something like that, but I mean, Bombers are just as likely to beat the Dogs, so I don't know. It's just one of those rounds, I think. So
yeah,
try and keep it short and sweet,
happy days. All right, let's get the
easy.
fuck out of here.
All right, lads. Thanks for joining in, and good luck scoring over 2,000 this week. Let us know if you do.
Yeah. All right, boys. Good luck. We'll catch you on Tuesday for the recap.
See ya.